welcome to our webinar today for our supplier partners. We thought it'd be great to get you all together so that you can share what's going on, talk about best practices in the industry, and we can also give you some updates. So welcome. And just so that you all know, our participants are all on mute today, just so we can manage the background noise. If you want to ask questions, we encourage you to use the Q&A box, not the chat box. It's easier for us to manage questions if you use the Q&A box. So please use that throughout the webinar. You can ask questions at any point in time, and we will try and address them as they come up. If not, we'll try and get to all of them at the end. And any other housekeeping items? We are recording this, and we will send it out after the webinar, probably tomorrow to everybody, as well as post it on our webpage. And you know, just also keep in mind that people and our panelists will be sharing what's going on in their companies. And so, although we will be posting it, you know, kind of respect confidentiality and what we're sharing. So I'll go ahead and show you the results from our poll. It's fairly evenly split. So, but the winner is definitely the 80s. Oh my God, totally barked me out. That seems to be where we'd want to go back to, but fairly evenly split. So thanks for playing along with that. Okay, let me close that poll and move on. So we have a great group of panelists today, and I want to thank them all for being willing to do this and giving up their time. We've got Chuck Colletti from Touch of Color Flooring, George Cowden from Multi-Housing Depot, Charlene Delia from Western Pest Services, Heather Kamasa from Acadia Windows and Flooring, and Sharrod Parker from Miller's Mutual Insurance. So big round of applause for all of them, and thank you for being on. And then from PAA, we have myself and Leah Salheimer, who is our Vice President of Government Affairs. We also have with us our staff, Amy Pontius and Erica Caceres from our Marketing and Membership Department, who are also joining us today. So thank you, everybody. I just wanted to start off and share what's going on with our 2020 events. As you all know, I mean, I know you all belong to multiple associations, so it's extremely challenging to know what's going to be happening and what we're going to be doing with events. So this is what we know as of today. We are hoping to still do a golf outing on June 8th at Philadelphia Cricket Club. They're being extremely flexible with us, but we understand that if the golf course is open by then, and I do believe they will, there'll probably be some changes in how we can handle a golf outing in terms of social distancing. So we are still obviously waiting to hear what's going to happen with that. I believe that if the golf courses do open, you guys will want to meet, you'll want to play golf, but it will not probably look like the golf outing that we all have come to love at that location. So stay tuned on that, more to come, but we are hoping to have something on June 8th in terms of a golf outing. If we can't do our full-blown golf outing on June 8th at Philadelphia Cricket, we are actually have a backup plan to do one in Lancaster at Lancaster Country Club, which we hear is an extremely nice country club, at the end of September. And of course, we also have our golf outing, which is on here October 5th at Allegheny Country Club in Pittsburgh, which is also a very nice club. So we hope to be able to bring those to you. As of now, our kickoff party and trade show are scheduled for July 22nd and 23rd at Valley Forge Convention Center. And again, when we picked that rescheduled date, we thought we'd be fine, but the world looks very different even a month out from when we all started to know and become familiar with the coronavirus here in the US. So stay tuned on that as well. We are really hoping we can bring this event to fruition. It's such an important event for all of you and obviously for the association. So stay tuned on that. We did have to cancel our amazing race, and I can hear Heather crying in the background because that is such an important event for our Helping Hands committee, but it's just not feasible to do something like that at the end of May. But we have our cocktails and cornhole scheduled for August 13th at the Fuge, and we are hoping that everybody will come out and support that important fundraiser for Helping Hands. I talked about the golf outing October 5th. We pushed back our apartment awards call to entry. It was, deadline would have been too soon, so we pushed that out. And so we have also pushed out then the actual date for the East Awards ceremony. So the first one will actually be in Central at the Antique Car Museum in Hershey. The East ceremony will still be at Drexel Brook, but we moved it to the 12th. And if we do one in West, that's still to be determined. And then Maintenance Mania is the other event that got moved, and that will be in the fall. We're still waiting to hear back from the Farm Show Expo on available dates for that in the fall. The other event that got canceled that you guys may not even have known about, we were going to do an annual meeting and advocacy day in Harrisburg on May 4th and 5th, and obviously we had to cancel that. So that's an update on our events. I know that Valerie has been reaching out to folks about sponsorships and how to get involved. We know this is a difficult time, so we are offering all flexibility that we can. If the other thing that we've done recently is resend out our membership bills. It's a hard thing to do at this time of year because we know that everybody's in a tight spot. So if you are having issues, if you need flexibility, just give us a call and talk to us. We are, we want to work with you. The most important thing is to be here for you. When times are tough, you need an association to stay involved, to stay connected, and we don't want you to lose those connections. So talk to us, tell us what you need, and we'll work with you on that. The most important thing is that we want to keep everybody involved and keep you all as members. So please reach out to us. And next, Leah's going to give us an update on what's happening with mandates on the federal level. And Leah, hopefully you're unmuted and can talk.
I am. Yep. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. As you know, you've been getting a lot of emails from the association. A lot of them are generated by me, and then poor Amy and Erica have to turn them around pretty quickly to get them out. But we're doing that because things are changing daily. Sometimes they're changing hourly. It's just a matter of time. I'm not going to go through each point through the slides because a lot of you can access the information from our website, or you'll be able to access it after we're done with the webinar tonight. But I do want to answer any questions that you might have. And I also wanted to let you know that what we expect to hear from the governor in the next 24 hours is that Pennsylvania will likely be extending our shutdown until May 15th. So, again, please don't go and broadcast that information because it is coming to us from a confidential source, but that's what we should expect. So it's unfortunate, but the governor is a part of a coalition with a number of other states, and that's what they're deciding to do to make sure that everyone stays safe. So I've gotten some questions from our property managers about how to work through the guidance, the new guidance about cleanliness and masks. What we're recommending is that we believe that most of the guidelines the governor released are for our larger companies like Home Depot, Lowe's, Giant, who are also members of our organization. But what we were hearing is that there were a lot of complaints coming in about customers and employees not wearing masks after the governor had made the recommendation that all Pennsylvanians should wear masks when going out in public. As a result, I believe they're trying to now legislate that and say, not necessarily legislate, but through an executive order, they're saying now everyone has to wear a mask. The information that I received about enforcement today is that they expect employers to enforce with employees. So does a leasing agent need to be wearing a mask? Probably not if they're in an office by themselves, but as soon as a maintenance tech comes into that office, they should probably have a mask on, and the maintenance tech should have one on too. Or if a resident comes in. And the same would be true for all of you. If you're deemed an essential or life-sustaining business and you have employees that are working within 6 to 13 feet of each other, then it would be assumed that they would be wearing masks in each other's presence. But when we talked about enforcement, again, it was the employer would enforce with their employees, and government would only respond if there was a complaint. And the same is true with customers or anyone that were to come into your shop. If you know, you should have it posted that everyone should be wearing masks when they come into your store. You are permitted to turn them away. You're permitted to call law enforcement if there's an issue with turning them away. But again, the enforcement's going to be based off of kind of self-policing. I don't think that the state police are going to sit outside of our management company's offices or Home Depot or Lowe's looking to see if someone's wearing a mask or not. So that's kind of an overview of some of the questions that we've been asked. Cleanliness is always a big thing. The governor's office has recommended now, I think you wait 24 hours before cleaning somewhere. There's CDC guidelines on how to clean and what to do, and I know that some of our supplier partners offer that service to our owner members. So, and again, do not get together with more than 10 people at one time. And I think that it's just going to be kind of what we expect to see as the new norm. And we sent out an email earlier in the week, and I talked about this in one of our videos, that the governor views kind of us getting back to normal in 3 phases. The phase that we're in now, which is the stay-at-home order and social distancing and somewhat isolation. The second phase is transitioning a little bit into reopening some businesses that can practice social distancing measures. And then lastly is kind of the new norm and what will be as we get into life again. So again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me directly. I think we can answer them through the Q&A. And right now, that's it for me.
Great, thank you, Leah. Yeah, so if you have any questions related to the new safety measures, you can go ahead and type them in the Q&A. We'll try and answer them or reach out to Leah. And we are constantly posting updates on any of this on our website, on social media. And, so always stay tuned there. I am going to go ahead then. Erica, can you unmute all of our panelists? And we will jump in to our panel questions. And also I'm gonna launch a poll, which I'd love you guys to answer. It has to do, is your business still open and able to operate? And that's a question I'm gonna ask our panelists to address first. So George, can you tell us about your business? Is it still open? Are you operating? And what capacity?
Absolutely. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Our business is considered life essential. We have 160 employees, and out of 160 employees, we have 35% working remotely. And, our drivers, our helpers are working on the front lines, delivering the product to the communities. Our shop workers, our manufacturing floor, that's in full operation. Of course, we have to adhere to all the new guidelines, and, which we are doing so. That is for existing multi-housing operators. For new construction, it's a little different for us in the Mid-Atlantic from Virginia to New York. That's a lot further behind, obvious reasons. And we are working with certain customers on waivers. They're getting waivers from the state. They're applying for the waiver. And then they have to give a good reason and cause to move forward with if they have move-ins and that nature. So that's where our company is at. We're we're adjusting. Our company is adjusting with to the reduced staff on site, and they reduced, staff not only for maintenance but for the office. So with that, there's all new hurdles.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
So forth.
Great. Thank you. Charlene, has our pest services considered essential businesses in Pennsylvania? Are you guys operating?
Yes, we are operating. Can you hear me, Marlon?
Yep, you're good.
Okay. So yes, we fall under the public health services. So we are deemed essential. We service many of the hospitals in Philadelphia and the surrounding counties. So they definitely, and those and along with other businesses need our services, and also with homes. We're operating at full capacity with termite. A lot of that can be done on the exterior. So that's in full swing. Residential and commercial services up and going. We have about almost 500 employees from Connecticut to Maryland, including New York, New Jersey, PA, and Delaware. So a lot of our employees we've transitioned to work from home. Our sales force has the ability to work from home. And our CSRs now, we had to order a bunch of headsets. We had to order things for the computers, cameras for them, and to be shipped in for them to be able to work from home now. So they're not in the offices. There are office managers that come in and branch manager come in, which our offices are big enough that they can have their own space. The service supervisors are mostly out on the road. They do spend some time in our facilities where we keep all of our supplies, our storage units, which are on site at our offices. So they are permitted to go in there. We're of course following all the social distancing guidelines. When we have to drop off any supplies to our technicians, it's always in the field now, where we used to have check-in day once a week or so at the office. So that's changed a little bit. And as far as any service or sales issues that need to be handled right away, we haven't had too many capacity issues as far as IT is concerned, but we've had to have a few adjustments in terms of personal internet and that have been a challenge at home, transitioning those employees.
Thank you.
Sure.
Definitely it's a new world, right? Any of our other catalysts, is anybody not operating? I'm assuming that all your businesses are considered essential and able to operate?
Correct.
Yes,
Great. Then
fortunately.
Yes. Well, and in our poll of the folks that answered, I think about 63% answered, 91% are up and operating, and 2 businesses are not able to operate. So I'm glad to see that many. And of course, my heart goes out to any businesses that are not able to operate right now. Then I'll ask.
Sorry, this is Erica. I just wanted to make an announcement of those businesses that are open. We will make an announcement in our morning memo tomorrow to let our property and owner members know that you are still open and able to operate if you're offering services right now. If you want, you can send an email to info@paahq.com if you are offering any specific COVID-19 services during this time.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And Heather, I'll go to you if you're open operating. What are some hurdles that you're facing adjusting to this new normal that you would have never expected?
Well, when I say that we're open and operating, we are working on a warm crew, we're calling it, rather than a skeleton crew. We have reduced our crews a little bit because of social distancing and the guidelines that are changing almost daily. So we have taken every step possible to protect our employees and their families, of course. So manufacturing, we're not working in the field as we speak. We plan on gearing back up for some open hallways and things of that nature that we can get into, that we're not actually going into people's homes as of right now. But we have set up, we have PPE supplies on hand. We've actually ordered 3 different shipments of different supplies because we're just trying to stay ahead of it. We have sanitation stations all throughout our plants. We are just basically, if any of you know Wink, he is going over and beyond to make sure that everybody is so protected. We actually shut down for 3 weeks so we could sanitize the entire facility. And every single day they have a cleaning crew that goes in afterwards, and just we're doing everything possible to protect our employees and their families. So, and I have to say something to the employees that are, they're showing up and they're coming in every day with a positive attitude. And it just speaks in volumes to see those of the people that are working, just how positive everybody's being. It's, gives us hope.
Great to hear. And somebody had mentioned, and I should be doing this, when I call on a panelist, I need to say what company you're with. So there's context there. So Sharrod, I'm going to go to you because you're in a sort of different service area with Millage Mutual Insurance. How has this changed how you guys are operating? What are some things you're doing you would have never envisioned?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Our, well, number one, of course, we're an insurance company, basically a financial institution. We're judging risks. We're sending money coming in, money coming out. And I think what we first saw was, our niche is multifamily housing. So we have inspectors that go out to prospects, and early on in March, our inspectors were reporting back to us that folks didn't want to meet with them, wouldn't let them in the house, wouldn't let them on the property. And, there's ways we can work around that. But of course, we want to be able to see what we're potentially insuring, with our own eyeballs. And it was becoming, it quickly became an issue. So we just, asked our underwriters to, kind of tighten their underwriting hats and just do whatever they can. If we couldn't get an inspection of a property done, to try to use whatever virtual tools, other reporting, other information that's available. Next thing was claims, when we needed to handle claims that came to us. Our claims folks are having to go the same route, a more virtual way of communicating, connecting with insureds or claimants and agents. Some types of claims that we get, we like to have a more firsthand approach, but it's not possible right now. And then the next thing we experience as far as day-to-day business, we were prepared, where I think all of our employees in our Harrisburg office have laptops so they could work remotely. People that needed work cell phones already had those, but because of the nature of our business, there are documents that come in and out of our office that need to be stamped and, time stamped, and we need the ability to mail checks to people that need them. So the mail was our biggest issue. Like, how do we handle mail not being there? So we had to assign a very small skeleton crew. People from our leadership and senior leadership stepped up that lived close to our home office, and they go in every day and, in lieu of our mail staff, they're actually running the mail system for us so we can, get payments out to people that need them and accept the documents that we need. So I think that was one of the biggest and surprising things, mail of all things for us.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it certainly is. Every day, I think we're all thinking about things that we hadn't anticipated having to do differently. So it's challenging, to say the least. So somebody had a question. They were surprised to see that 90% of the folks on this call were able to operate businesses, and they're kind of wondering what kind of businesses you have. So I thought one way to handle that maybe is if you want to use the chat feature, our attendees, just go ahead and type in chat what your business is, so the attendee that asked that question can kind of see what those businesses are that are able to operate. So if you answered that you are operating, go ahead and type that in the chat. And so Chuck, I'll move to you. Have you, you are with Touch of Color Flooring, correct?
Yes, Marla.
And have you had to reduce staff or cut back in what you're doing?
Yes, actually, so about 4 weeks ago, our company actually furloughed probably about 90% of our workforce. They furloughed us, and we do flooring in the multifamily industry and new commercial construction and new home builders. So basically the new home builders and the new commercial construction here in Pittsburgh shut down. So there was really no work to be done. Multifamily, we were doing flooring turns for them on an as needed emergency basis. So as the multifamily people needed turns, we would do them, but they, all the work, just drastically stopped. So our company chose to furlough close to 100 people. This week, we were funded for the Small Business Paycheck Protection Program. So they brought everyone back on Monday or on Tuesday.
Wow.
So,
That's great to hear.
Yes. And with that being said, 89% of our workforce is now working at home. We have an office in Philadelphia. We're based out of Harrisburg. We're here in Pittsburgh and also in Richmond, Virginia. So getting funding was huge because we were able to put everyone back to work, although it's been changed the way we do our work, and there's still not a ton of it to go around. Our company is able to, at least for the next 8 weeks, people will receive paychecks.
Have you had any concerns about, especially in those first couple of weeks when folks were laid off, maintaining customer service and quality with such a reduced staff? How did you handle that?
Yes, and that was something too that I will say that the people within our company, even the people that were furloughed, that had, interactions with any of our existing customers, they didn't drop the ball. They understood what was going on. They understood it was beyond our company's control. Everybody was very professional about it. They continued to keep contact and keep in touch with the operations people that were actually the small staff that was still working to make sure that our customers were taken care of. Our company, our CFO, the owner of our company, our vice president, they put out emails probably every other day to update all the employees on what was going on, what they were trying to do. So they engaged all employees, furloughed or not, almost on an every other day basis. So from the very get-go, they had a plan that they were, trying to implement, and they kept everyone aware, which I think helped everyone. It wasn't like, hey, we're going to furlough everyone, go collect your unemployment, and as soon as business comes back, we'll bring everyone back. They made everyone, they kept everyone informed. There was no, there was no secrets. Everyone knew what was going on, and so, that was something that I think helped keep us, engaged with our clients.
I'll tell you, that's a great practice takeaway from this, in that, furloughing employees and keeping them on the communication trail, keeping them informed, making them feel like you're still part of the team, and that, there's definitely going to be a place for you, I think is so important for how those folks transition back. And I think it helps, when they do come back, from the folks that were there and not not having animosity. So it's great, great best practice takeaway from there.
Great. We Marlon, if I can just say one thing too, because we
Sure.
had kind of talked earlier when we were talking about doing the webinar. I said it's crazy, and everyone that's on this call, that has a business, that's a supplier, that does work. The economy was so great. It was hard to find good people. It was hard to fill positions. It was hard to staff. And, you know, it's hard to believe that was like 4 months away, 4 months ago. So the last thing you want to do is, you know, you want to have hope, and everyone wants to be positive that, hey, once we figure this thing out, once we change the way we do business, we're going to be able to get back in, and hopefully the economy will start to roll again. When that economy rolls again, the last thing we want to do is replace the good employees we had. So no matter what the issue was, we had to make sure that we kept our employees engaged and let them know how important they are to the success of our company.
Well said.
Absolutely. Was that Heather that just said well
That
said?
was, yes.
Okay. So, you know, again, you guys had to do some furloughs as well?
We did. We furloughed, well, actually, we did not furlough. We did not lay off or furlough anyone. Everybody at Acadia is still receiving a paycheck. Happy to say. Wink is
great.
it is great. You know, we're all staying positive and just trying to be hopeful. You know, who knows what a month's going to bring, but as of right now, yes, everybody's still receiving a paycheck.
Yeah, that's wonderful. They're able to do that. Charlene, what ideas do you have for keeping your current staff motivated and positive in this climate? And I can tell you, you know, we at PAA East, I don't think have ever been busier. And but you know, this is just a tough climate right now. And so when you're not face to face with people and you can't, you know, walk into somebody's office and have a chat with them, how are you keeping your staff motivated and positive?
Yeah, I think that there's some people that are dealing with this okay, meaning the introverts that are okay with this. The extroverts are struggling through this, I think. Not just the extroverts, but that personality type can struggle through not having contact. So that is something that we've talked about as an organization. But as far as our employees go, I think that there's something simple to leadership in our company, reaching out and going and seeing our front lines employees, like our technicians and supervisors. This week and for the next 3 weeks, we're going to be going to all the branches. We have little food packages that we're delivering in person to all of our technicians to thank them for being on the front lines of all of this. So I think that, one, having that, just even if it's a phone call, right? Even if you can't get out there and get there and deliver them something, a phone call to a technician or a salesperson to just tell them that you appreciate what they're doing, that you're listening to their concerns that they have when you call them, keeping in mind that everyone's situation is different right now. There are personal things that may be going on. They may have an elderly parent living with them or an immune compromised child that is in their life or in their very home. And that can contribute to a lot of stress on people. So hearing out those concerns and not stifling them in that way is really important to begin to empathize with those people that are going through those situations. Can mean a lot as a person and as a company to be there for them, you know, during a difficult time. I can think back, and I'm sure everyone on this call can think back to a difficult time they've had in their personal life, and did their company or did their career support them through that? I know Western did that for me years ago. I want to pass that on, and I think all the leadership here wants to pass that on. We have a lot of tenured leadership, so we're all trying to put our values first. You know, people and safety first is our number one value. And, you know, when you can do that, I think positivity rises. You don't want fake positivity out there. You don't want something hidden under the surface that, you know, people are forced to put a smile on their face. It's best if you can openly communicate about those things. If it needs to be a one conversation, that's great. But, you know, it doesn't need to be on a conference call. It just, you want to make sure that people can be heard about their certain situations. Obviously, from an HR perspective, making accommodations that you can for people that need them, and you know, doing the best that we can to share positive experiences, because there are positive experiences out there. I think that the impression that's all doom and gloom right now, I don't know that is correct. And you can incorporate both those perspectives and be courteous to each one and promote positivity through that.
I agree, and that all starts from the top. So my sister, she works in banking, and I know they are paying, they're giving them all a little bit extra, like money and a bonus. Are any of you guys, you know, because you got some frontline people who are out there, did you do any different compensation during this time? And I'll just open that up to any of the panelists.
We have not. Being that everybody is still receiving a paycheck, we have not done any other compensation. If that does change, I imagine we will, yes.
This is Sharrod from Miller's. I would say we haven't done like a direct like increase in pay or anything like that, but our leadership did recognize that, you know, kind of some of the folks said earlier, there's folks in different personal situations, you know, even though we're open, everybody's receiving a paycheck, perhaps their husbands or spouse may have been furloughed or laid off or something like that. So our HR department was able to actually alter and change our PTO policy, and they've made some alterations that would allow folks to cash that out, or portions of it immediately.
Oh, okay.
You know, things like that, as that was not something that we did before. So there's a bunch of different ways that you can access people or essentially get it paid out, or a portion of it that they've done.
I like
That's great.
George, check in with you. Oh gosh, what's the question I was just going to ask you? Oh, have you had to deal with any employees that have not felt comfortable going to work or being in a situation because of, you know, concerns about the virus?
Well, before I answer that, if I could just go back, they were just, you know, wonderful responses by Charlene and Sharrod. What we've done a little differently to add, you know, out of our team, there's our senior leadership. It consists of 3, Ed Bell, Matt Bell, myself, and we've all taken pay cuts, and we've let our employees know that, because we will do everything in our power to continue to be strong and cut expenses and just be smart through these difficult times. We've also given our drivers, we've given them a little bump so that they don't have to stop for lunch. They can bring their lunches with them, because we don't want to expose them going to, you know, stopping at different stores in the Mid-Atlantic to get, you know, to stop and get lunch. Rather, we encourage, hey, we gave you a bump and in your pay, and please bring your lunches with you to work. Less exposure. So
Great.
yeah, we found, but you know, Charlene brought up a great point in everyone's lives and what everyone's going through. I mean, everyone has their own challenges right now. We all have to stay optimistic. For example, I have 4 children. My youngest has juvenile diabetes, and he's very attentive to this whole situation. You can tell he's a little stressed. So it's, constant, talking to him about it. On top of that, 3 of my 4 children are all graduating this year, one from college, one from high school, and one from grade school. So,
Oh,
that is, especially when, everything that's going on and canceling school other than on the computers. And, we'll still do the graduation and get in our cars and beep horns and all that stuff and make them feel special. But, these are challenging times for all of us, and we all have our own, our own challenges through the turmoil. But as far as your last question, could you repeat that? Sorry, Marla.
oh, yeah, and if it doesn't apply to you, I can check on the other ones too. But have you had any folks or employees that have been like, you know what, I'm not comfortable doing that because I'm afraid of being exposed to the virus? And it may be, somebody who has a child or a spouse at home with diabetes or an underlying health condition who have said, I'm not comfortable working out in the public. And how have you dealt with that?
We've been, again, this is George at Multi-Housing Depot, just to repeat for everyone.
Thank you.
We have been extremely lucky to not have any pushback from our employees. We have taken the time, the effort, and expense to provide them equipment, to keep them safe during this pandemic. And it's worked really great for us so far. So we're taking an aggressive, extremely serious approach to it. Like Heather had mentioned, and Charlene had mentioned, we're doing the same thing. We're calling them. Our HR department, she'll call 10 employees a day just to check in with them, see how they're doing, making sure they have, all the necessary safety, and anything and everything. We are over communicating, which is, what we're doing day in and day out. So to answer your question directly, we've been very, very lucky. The answer is we have not, we have asked, we have not, obviously we can't make it mandatory, but we've asked everyone, could you please, and that's every department, take a week off, a paid week of PTO, so that once the economy does get back up and running, and we're all ready for it next month or two, hopefully, God willing, that we'll be ready and we can count on our number one asset, and our number one asset is our employees. So we're doing things like that. So
And that's another great best practice little nugget that you just said was, because you're going to need all hands on deck when we do come back full force, is if you can get some of your folks to take time off now, which is, it's asking a lot because, where do you go? What do you do? But I think that's a good approach, and something maybe some other folks can think about employing. So thanks for sharing that. I'm going to launch a poll regarding the federal funding through the various CARES Act and programs, and we already heard Touch of Color Flooring got their PPPL loan, which is amazing. So if you can all look at that and go ahead and answer it, if you've applied and have not received money, applied and have received money, no, but you still plan to apply. I heard they're already out of money on the one program, and no, we don't plan to apply. Go ahead and we'll just take a look at that. And so I'm just checking my time. So we're at quarter up. So has anybody had any employees report that they were positive for COVID-19, and how have you managed that? Of course, maintaining confidentiality. So if anybody's whoop, we got some scribble scrabble talk. That sounded like Charlie Brown talk from the adults. So is anybody on the panel able to respond to that? Okay. Got it. You guys are unmuted, right? Let me check. Oh, no.
Maybe ask if there were any plans in place.
Whoa.
If someone, you know, if an employee showed up or tested positive.
So who was that was just talking?
It was Leah.
Leah, Marlon, can you hear Heather?
I can now.
Yes, we can now.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I'm hoping everyone else can hear me. As of today, we have not had any reports of coronavirus, thank goodness. But as I said earlier, we are doing everything we possibly can, you know, all the way down to taking everybody's temperature in the morning. So we've been lucky enough not to report any.
And some of the issues that we reported that we had on the slides earlier, I don't think we went into this detail, but if you look at the governor's and the Department of Health, Pennsylvania Department of Health mandates from yesterday, they are very specific guidelines that you have to follow if you have anybody suspected of having COVID-19 or actually report they have COVID-19, and what procedures you need to follow if that happens in your workplace. So including making sure you take a temperature of every employee every day before they come to work. And it can't be over, I think it was 100 point something, which I thought was actually high.
I thought it was a little high as well.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if I have a fever of 100, I think I'm dying. So, but everybody's fever runs differently, I guess. All right, so if we're looking at the poll, any of our panelists also apply for any of the grants, and have they received it from our panelists?
We have applied and we have not received anything as of yet.
And this is George, Multi-Housing Depot. We have applied. We had not received anything yet.
And another great program, if you're not aware of, it's the Employee Retention Tax Credit. You can't get the PPPL and the tax credit, but it works similar to that. And it works actually through your payroll taxes, and your payroll company would help do this for you. But basically, if you agree to keep 90% of your workforce employed, you can get a tax credit up to, I believe it's $5,000 per employee between now and the end of the year. So if you don't get the PPPL or you haven't applied for it, I would talk to your payroll company and look into the Employee Retention Tax Credit Program. All right, let me see. Oh, here's another question. And we'll go back to Chuck and see with you. Have you had any folks in terms of paying their bills come to you and said, hey, we can't pay this bill, we need a payment plan? Have you been able to work with customers that have had issues?
Yes, we actually have. And we've been really receptive to that. You know, as long as it's people that, you know, customers and clients that have been doing good and are good standing, yes, because again, we're willing to work with, you know, anyone, you know, any of our clients if they're having issues. So we actually have had some people contact us.
Okay. Anybody else have something similar to share?
Yes, Marlon, this is George from Multi-Housing Depot for everyone. That is such a good question during these times. You know, have you been asked to reduce prices or delay bill payment? You know, we've been very lucky, but we have, you know, a large percentage of our customers in accounts payable are, you know, they're not in the office, they're at their home office. So they're there less frequently. And we're seeing a lot of electronic pay. We've had very little customers asking us for price relief, but or payment relief, but we have worked with the on both scenarios.
Okay. All right.
No,
Then anybody else want to? Any of our panelists want to share? Or
oh yeah, this is Sharrod again from Miller's. Yeah, we have, as far as your customers calling in asking for help with bills and So we created some alternate payment plans, alternate schedules for them to pay. So our accounting department is able to do that. We always have, we sell our insurance through independent agents. So of course our agents are looking for, type of reduction on premiums or for renewals. So our underwriting staff is working with them with that within reason, because I think, we're a little bit different than, say, like we've all seen in the news, like State Farm and Allstate and some of these folks that are returning premiums, auto premiums to their customers because we're all at home and we're not driving. Well, at least in my opinion, it's a little bit different for us because we insure, multifamily housing. So everybody is in their house. So the exposure hasn't really been reduced. It's probably been increased, which we've even seen, we think, we'll go back there to do some analysis, but increased fires. So I don't think that our, so, it may sound bad initially, but right now we don't have any plans, I don't think, to return any premiums because our exposure has increased, I believe. But that's the reason, because we don't insure autos. We only insure, housing, and everybody's at home.
Interesting, and really interesting to see how that will actually, the data will shake out in terms of higher exposure or liability with everybody actually being home and increased fires and things.
Yeah.
It kind of makes sense because I swear I hear the fire alarms go off constantly all day around here. So interesting. All right.
Marlon.
So yeah.
Oh, I wanted to, this is Charlene from Western. I wanted to answer this as well. Because for us, I think that it's varied, this question by the vertical, by the industry. A lot of our, I know a lot of the vendors on the call don't just service the apartment industry. If you're in the hotel industry or commercial real estate industry or the even restaurant industry like we are, a lot of those verticals have either suspended service, reduced service, in a lot of different areas. So they're also asking for delayed payments on bills, things like that come up. And I think the best thing that we can do is stay in constant communication with them. If they know that we're willing to work with them and they know that we're willing to do that, I think they're more receptive to paying something than paying nothing for a long period of time and avoiding the issue. So that's something that we've really tried to promote, is just not, you don't want to demonize anybody or become aggressive with them for not paying. This can be a stressful time, especially for your collections people, kind of coaching them through and making sure they have realistic expectations for everybody.
Yeah.
And that is important to do. It's also important to create value if you're a service provider, to find other ways to create value for your customers is really important right now. I'll give you an example for us. If we cannot, there's times where we do service for people under a regular contract where we go in and do preventative service inside units right now. Some apartment owners are ceasing that practice because we're only going in on a request basis if they're having a problem in their unit with mice or roaches or what have you. If we can create value by doing some preventative services on the outside, and even offering that is great, that some people are saying, yeah, please do that because we don't want to have problems 3 months from now. It's for a reason that we do the preventative service on the inside. So thinking outside the box and creating value can also increase your likelihood of receiving payment that we've seen.
Very good.
Absolutely. I want to go, there's a panel, there's a question from one of our attendees asking about how we are protecting your field employees, which is great because it was actually on our list of questions, but we didn't talk about specifically. So what sort of safety equipment are you providing your employees, and have you had any difficulty securing it? How about Chuck?
We're providing the PPEs. We're providing all that. The gloves, the masks. They've all been shipped out to each of our branches. They've been instructed to use them. Anything, we're following CDC recommendations. So anything that the CDC is recommending, we are adhering to. Also, we're adhering to what our customers, each customer may be a little bit different. Some multifamily people, they have their leasing office actually locked. They're not allowing people in. Some people are, you can only come in at a certain time and work. So yeah, we're offering all the protection that the CDC recommends and also our customers.
And with the new very specific guidelines that came out, I think that's going to be more important than ever, particularly from, just because it's the right thing to do for your employees, since it is a state mandate. And if you're not doing it, I think you put your, and you're not providing those things, you put your company at risk, obviously.
Yeah, and going forward too, and when I say forward, I'm not talking about a couple weeks, I'm talking months and into next year. The way we operate and do business is going to be greatly affected by these recommendations or rules that are in place now. For me, being in business development, sales is going to probably change. I've been in business development for over 30 years. The days of walking in for appointments, and you're going to see a lot of change in not only the way we service our customers, but in the way we sell to our customers. The days of the pop-ins and all those, even on existing accounts, I think at least for the near future and into next year are going to be, greatly changed. So I think that's something that, we're going to be looking at in the next, 12 months.
Yeah,
Marlon?
Yeah.
Marlon, this is George from MHD. Can I add one thing to what Chuck added?
Sure.
This is George from MHD. What we're also doing with our company and our staff and our folks out there daily, we are making sure that they don't get on elevators with other people. Okay, it's a tight space, and if it means, hey, taking the steps or waiting, 10, 15 minutes for the next elevator, because safety is first and foremost to what, to our front people that are out there.
Yep.
Marlon.
Yeah, one more and then we're going to wrap it up, but go ahead. Yeah.
So 2 other things that I'll just add. I don't want to be redundant because I think everybody's providing, safety equipment for their employees, but 2 things that I think that we've done that weren't mentioned. We have a doctor on staff that we've hired for any issues that may come up to evaluate anybody on site. They'll go visit, they'll have a phone conference and then go visit them if they're in a situation that they could come in contact with the coronavirus. So we've
okay.
For each of our brands from our parent company. And also I saw Matt's question on the side, for anybody who's having trouble, that's a smaller company, what I would tell you, we're obviously a bigger corporation. We've placed really large, probably a 7-figure order for both masks and gloves. But what I would tell anybody who's a smaller company is if you have any employees or you yourself are military, go to the military bases. Some of the times where we've struggled to get equipment, some of our branch managers are ex-military and they've gone to the bases where they've had equipment, and that's been somewhere that we can find them if you need something last minute.
And that's a great idea. Maybe that's something that we can do as an association value add, is see if we can create a list of places where we can get resources. So, and then post on our website so folks can use us as a resource as well. So I like that. And military base is one idea.
Hey, Marlon,
yeah.
George, MHD, another idea is with the hand sanitizer, about when we had them on order, 4 weeks ago, and they were back ordered, we made our own hand sanitizer. Employees in our shop made it. So you can go right online. The formula's there on how to make hand sanitizer. So we gallons of that. We've also made homemade masks, while we were waiting for ours to come in months ago. And so things like that, just to be creative.
Right. I love it. I love it. All right, so we're gonna wrap it up. The one thing I want to say, and hopefully it doesn't impact anybody on the call, but if you find yourself in a situation where you have been laid off and you are don't have employment, please contact us. PAA will not end your membership. We will put you on as an individual member and keep you in contact with this amazing association, because like I say, the time you need us is now. That would be, we would never want to cut off that resource for you. So if you find yourself out of work, and I hope you don't, let us know, and we will put you in our system with your personal email and keep you in contact with the association and keep you on as a member.
Marlon, I think that's such an incredible value. That's beautiful.
Yes,
So,
thank you.
yeah, it's like, yeah, I would never want to, again, cut anybody off from this amazing resource. And so to wrap things up, Andy Goldberg, who is the chair of our Pennsylvania Supplier Council, we had a prior call, so he's able to join us now, and we'll do a little bit of a closing for us. So Andy?
Yeah, thank you all. Can you hear me?
We can.
Yes.
Oh, excellent. I apologize for that. I had a video call with my entire company just a couple minutes ago, and then I finally wrapped up. So first of all, I just want to say thank you to Marlene and Leah and the entire staff of the PAA. I think that their team over there, the entire team, and Marlene in particular, and Leah as well, have just been tremendous assets for all the members of the PAA. I think that they are a relentless advocate for not just the owner members, but also for the suppliers. And I've been on many, many calls with both Marlene and Leah, probably more in the past month than we probably have since either of them became part of this association. And their professionalism and their care for all of us has been just tremendous. And they're a huge asset to each of us individually, for each of our companies, and also for PAA. So on behalf of all the suppliers out there, and also all members of PAA, thank you all for what you've done for us. Thank you.
Thank you.
A couple things I just want to talk about. I think the one thing, and I know in multi-family, those buildings are still occupied, but just remember that probably big swatches of these properties are being unused right now. And at some time when this thing break, there's going to be what's going to be called reoccupancy. So I think that's a new word that people really haven't used in the past. But as a supplier out there, things that you want to be thinking about is, what does reoccupancy mean? What does it mean to me? It doesn't necessarily mean like the services that you're going to provide to them necessarily for reoccupancy, although it could. It could also mean like, what are going to be the needs of that community when they do reoccupy these spaces that they've now vacated, or the retail establishments that used to be part of that community as well. So just kind of think about that and think about how your company can do that. The other word I want you to think about other than reoccupancy is the word pivot. And I think all of us who, I shouldn't say all of us, but I think anyone who's going to be successful over the course of the next couple of months, the word pivot is going to be essential. You're going to have to do things differently than what you did in the past. So I can't stress enough how much you need to talk to other people on your team, and you're going to need flexibility and creativity. And there isn't a person that I know that isn't living outside their comfort zone right now. And I've been way outside my comfort zone here for a long time, for a number of weeks. But as you as you go through the next couple of weeks, that comfort zone is going to become actually your normal zone. And then at that point, I think that things are going to change for a lot of us, and there's going to be opportunities there, and that people that are able to have that flexibility, creativity, and the desire to pivot, there's going to be opportunities out there. This virus is a terrible thing, but people are going to need help. And if you're able to provide a service that provides help to the people that need it, then you will be successful. So I'm going to end it on that. And I wish everybody the best of luck. My door is always open to anybody. As the chair of the Suppliers Council, when I took this on, I had no idea that I'd be walking into this. But I'm glad I'm in this role right now, because I do feel that it gives me a unique opportunity to help everybody in this association, and also the entire, all the suppliers, and also the association as a whole. So feel free to call me if you have questions or have ideas. And I think everybody on this panel, I've been listening to the panel for the past half hour, and I think that we got some really great people that have some great ideas, and I'm definitely going to take some ideas that I heard over the past 30 minutes back to my company. And I think that's the big part of this, is sharing ideas. So make sure you don't close yourself in.
Yeah. Absolutely. And why Andy was giving us credit, this webinar was actually Andy's idea. So thank you, Andy, for prompting us to do this. And thank you to our panel. You guys are consummate professionals. You're the best in your fields, and you're the best in ours as well. So thank you, everybody. Be safe, and stay in contact with us. And any ideas that you have that we can help you all and help each other, please let us know. We are open to anything that we can do.
I wish
Have a
the
good
best
night.
to everybody and their families.
Yes, stay
Yep.
safe and healthy.
Stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.